I'm back, even though, I knew I had some time to post some videos today. As it turns out, I think this will be the only one I post. I don't feel as funny as I would like to feel. I think I'm worn out from a busy week. So, they don't have to be funny. I know. I know. But I want most of them to be. And, and then some of the stuff I had written down, it's like, well, that's not that good, or I don't want to do that here. Mainly I want to have a little introduction and then tell an anecdote, and then if the anecdote can be told in a funny way, then hoorah. But, yeah, so today I was going to a recovery meeting for atheists and agnostics, which actually ended up being, I'd never heard of this group of people before, and it was a totally wonderful experience. We all had alcoholism in common, and we also had this feeling of being to lots of recovery meetings in our lives where we felt like we were closeted. Well, where we felt like we needed to be closeted. And, my decision to dissemble about believing in God, that's my own lack of courage and stuff. But anyway, a lot of us in the room had done that. So that was kind of cool. And on the way there, I got a knowing honk from someone I didn't recognize. Like one of those honks that, an angry honk from a, hello honk. It was like, "Pah, pah," idly do. And, but I didn't recognize who it was. I didn't recognize the vehicle. And I feel like it's incumbent upon the honker to know, because maybe I knew who they were, but maybe I hadn't seen them in several years or something, or maybe I'd never seen the car. And you gotta know, you gotta think about those things before you go honking at someone, even if it's a knowing honk, because I didn't know what to think. I thought maybe I was just being honked at because, I'm like a 6.4 on the international attractiveness scale. Where by international, I mean the entire British Isles and or United Kingdom or Great Britain, whatever it's supposed to say, and Canada and the U.S. and Australia. Those are the people who've been polled. And so anyway, it was kind of weird knowing honk from someone I didn't recognize. I'm sure it's happened to us all, and I don't know how it made you feel. It didn't really make me feel anything at all. Actually, I'm making that up. It's just it was something to talk about. So the last time I went to a hotel because of my alcoholism, I went to this place which was it was probably the very worst of the worst of any of the places that I'd been to. And I only went to it because I'd been living in a kind of sober living situation, and I had been reading the paper and seeing this advertisement for really cheap weekly, rooms to rent by the week. People think of hourly rate motels as being really sketchy, but if you're advertising in the newspaper with a really cheap weekly rate, you're probably just that sketchy. It's just no one advertises in the paper with their hourly rate because no one wants to be known as a hotbed for prostitution. But as it would turn out, this place was a hotbed for prostitution and drugs, and it's probably a hotbed for bed bugs too, although I wasn't probably coherent enough to know. But I got there, it was really crazy. I went there with alcohol in my bag. Of course, I went there with a half gallon of vodka planning on drinking it, but I'd been tutoring at a tutoring company, and I also was planning on going to work that night. I was planning on checking into the hotel and having one drink and then going to work. And, I mean, that was actually the plan that was happening in my head, not just what I was telling people. So it was clear to me after the fact that it was like I can be very disconnected from even my own like reality, or my reality can be very disconnected from the reality, in as much as there is such a thing. And so I got there, and strangely, well, so what happened first is I ring the doorbell, and the person who emerges, I feel like it's probably uncharitable to call her a troll. But I mean, if you, let's say every person alive had to be named, had to be like, I'm trying to keep this under 10 minutes, so had to be like associated with a mythological figure of some kind, well then she definitely would be a troll. And I don't know what I would be, maybe a kindly orc or something. I don't know. I wouldn't be a paladin. I wouldn't be a paladin. Maybe they were. Anyway, like knights. I mean, some of that stuff's real. Anyway, you know what I mean. Like if you played D&D, you know what I mean. Actually, D&D doesn't have trolls, but you know, whatever. So this woman was, I mean, she was morbidly obese in a kind of horribly sad way, and she only moved around in one of those scooters, and it was just a bummer. As soon as she like emerged from her, again, it would be uncharitable for me to say lair, but I have now said it. As soon as she emerged, I knew like, uh-oh, this place is gonna be bad. And then she, but before she took my money, I told her I wanted to, you know, rent the place for a week. I wasn't drunk yet. I was just like anxious to get going there. And before she took my money, she said, well, why don't you take a look at the room first? She really, I was like, it's okay. And she was like, no, I really strongly, I mean, I don't know how she said it. You know, it wasn't like she said, I strongly encourage. Her trolliness was sort of covert. I mean, it was just appearance-based. But she was also very strange acting. I mean, this woman was strange. And I think she owned the place, and so it turns out, you know, she overlooked, or I mean, you know, yeah, she ignored or whatever, or looked the other way while there was like, I think, tons of criminal stuff happening at the place. But you gotta make a living, you gotta pay for scooter gas and stuff. And she had to pay for like the antelope that she chewed up at night while they were still alive, gnawing them. Gnawing their flesh from the... So anyhow, some people would do a second take, but not happening here. This is actually I already abandoned one terrible video, so we're going with this one. She strongly encouraged me to check the room out before I paid, which was another warning sign. And I went to the room, and I mean, like, at this point, like, I'm not like a savvy consumer. Like, I'm not reading, what's-his-face, Steve's, you know, traveling around Europe guidebook looking for the perfect pension, which is funny because this place has pension in the name. Shouldn't probably say that. I'm not a savvy consumer at this point. I just want to find like a bed and a cable TV so I can drink and watch cable TV. That's the sad truth of it. And but I went to the room and I looked at the room, and it was like, I don't know, when I first opened the door and looked at the room, it was like one of the 10 saddest moments of my life. Like, the state of the room was that bad. Like, there wasn't a corpse on the floor. That's how I would describe the room. It was better than a room with a corpse on the floor, currently rotting. There was like an entertainment center designed to have, it had like a big hole where a big TV could have been, but there was just this tiny little sad TV there. And, you know, the bedspreads at places like this are always dubious, you know. You wouldn't want to go looking around for like what kind of, whose fluid was where, and it's a bummer of a room. And, you know, so I went back and I buzzed the troll from her lair, and I said, yeah, I'll take it. Yeah, looks good. I don't care. Looks great. I love what you've done with it. I love how you've squirted the bodily fluids in the way that you've done it. I love how you have a tiny TV from the 80s in the giant gaping maw of the entertainment center, designed for like a flat screen, built more recently. I like that. I like it all. I like the whole sham dangle. I like the drug deals going on and the prostitution and the whatnots. Just sign me up, please. And she did. She took my money. She ended up sort of cheating me out of some money at the end, because I was like, you know, each day I'm a little less of a functioning human. And the last day I was there, we're not under 10 minutes, but whatever. The last day I was there, I was getting, again, I think because I hadn't been eating, I was getting sick, and couldn't drink anymore. It didn't seem like my body even wanted the alcohol, so I called my parents to take me to the hospital. Common refrain. And she, right when I was like leaving to find a payphone to call, she was like, she scooted over to me and said, "Oh, I had it wrong. You know, you've actually got a couple more days coming in your stay here. Feel free to use the pool some more." And there wasn't a pool. I mean, if there had been a pool, it would have had like it would have been a pool of needles. So I just left, and yeah, that's the last time I went to a hotel to drink. And good God, in whom I don't believe, I pray it shall be the last. Thanks for watching. Happy Mother's Day, all you moms out there.